Welcome to Channel Japan. I'm Mai Demizu.
And I'm Makiko Utsuda.
Every week, we bring you the freshest information out of Japan from our studio here in Tokyo.
From the economy to culture and even foods, if you want to find out what's happening in Japan right now, this is where you'll find it.
And these are our topics for today.
In Executive Insight, we interview the head of a railway company that's laying tracks to profits with unique ideas.
In World Business Satellite, Japan's shrinking population and how a small village is giving birth to a baby boom through unconventional social policies.
Also from World Business Satellite, the rise of new businesses to deal with the country's increasingly subtropical climate.
And finally, a craftsman who developed the world's first sensor to quantify human taste. So let's get started. We have a video report from the Nikkei Online edition. Well, Utsuda-san, what is it about?
Yes, this time we have footage from an event showcasing various stationery and office use goods. So let's take a look at some of the highlights. So companies from about 30 countries participated, and it's considered one of the biggest stationery-related events in Asia.
Wow. So these people are actually buyers searching for a new product to sell in their markets.
Yes, that's right. And this is the booth of an established Japanese glue maker. And their main product is this.
I remember using it in my college day. I think most Japanese people are familiar with this type of glue. Well, it's made so that only the amount of glue you want comes out and doesn't drip.
Exactly, yes. I still see it often in my office.
Yes.
But the glues they introduced this time are this and this. And the area that it's used on is highlighted in yellow, but becomes clear when it dries.
The elderly are more active now and engaged in various hobbies. They use glue a lot more than before. Customers told us it would be easier to work with if they're able to actually see where the glue was applied.
Well, Utsuda-san, I've seen a different type of glue like this, colored glue, before.
Yes, I think you're right, and the difference is that this takes a bit longer for the colour to become clear. They say it takes about 4 minutes for the colour to completely disappear.
Not much, wow.
And it was made especially for the elderly and those with poor eyesight, so that they know right away where the glue was applied.
The longer it takes for the color to become clear, the less users have to worry about rushing to finish what they're doing.
So compared to many glues on the market that are petroleum-based, this glue is made from ingredients that aren't harmful to human health.
So it's good for children use as well.
Good to see that, yes. Now, this is a booth of a maker of postcards, letters, sets, and the like.
Thank you for today. As husband and wife, we would like to show our appreciation.
Interesting. Is it a video message?
Yes, it is, and you actually put your phone over the card and the video plays on your screen.
Interesting. How does it work?
This card has a QR code. You put your phone over it to scan the code. You turn it over like this, put your phone on it, and the video begins playing.
So you can actually send the message not just in words, but with video.
Well, this event was held for 3 days, and they say there were about 8,000 visitors.
That many. So this is where the new product I see in stores are sourced from. Yes. And I always feel a little more studious with new stationery. Well, up next is Executive Insight.
Yes, now this time we speak with the head of KQ Corporation, which operates a railway network in the southern part of the Kanto area.
Well, you see their train at Shinagawa Station, the red carriage. Yes. It's very difficult to miss. But where exactly do these lines run?
Yes, we have a map over here, and it shows the company's area of operations. So you can see Shinagawa Station in Tokyo is their hub, and they have 5 lines that run all the way to Misakiguchi on the Miura Peninsula, and their network covers a total distance of 87 kilometers.
Well, I understand compared to other railway operator, their line seems to be quite small. But isn't it a disadvantage in terms of profitability?
Yes, one would think so, but actually we have a graph here that compares the fiscal 2012 and 2013 revenues of their railway operations. And as you can see, KQ transported 12 million more people than the year before. Plus, passenger revenue also grew by $23 million. And the reason for this growth can be found on their route map.
Well, Tsuda-san, can you explain?
Yes, if we can just go back to the map again. As you can see, there are 73 stations in total, and of them, 5 have a daily passenger traffic of over 100,000, as you can see. They have very large numbers of passengers, and the average for stations in central Tokyo is about 250,000. So compared to that, for a line that mainly runs into the suburbs, their scope of operations is limited, but their advantage is that they have relatively profitable stations.
I understand. Yes.
And they also have a line connecting to the domestic and international terminals of Haneda Airport. And the number of passengers using those 2 stations have increased to 90,000 a day.
Well, I've used their station at Haneda Airport, and it's quite very convenient.
Isn't it? And they're also carrying out other strategies to increase passenger numbers. And so this time we speak with the company president, Kazuyuki Harada. So take a look.
Executive Insight. Haneda, Tokyo, the international passenger terminal of Haneda Airport. Along with Narita Airport, it is the gateway to Japan for many travelers from overseas. One of the main means of transportation into central Tokyo is the Keihin Kyuko Railway, or Haneda Airport Express. Since 2010, when the international terminal of Haneda Airport was opened, the line has been expanding services for foreign travelers. The railway operator KQ Corporation is headed by Kazuyuki Harada. He speaks with us about their hospitality strategy.
One of the lines you operate in your railway business is the Haneda Airport Express. Haneda Airport recently expanded takeoff and landing slots. What effect has this had?
Our railways have various characteristics, and we cover Haneda Airport as well as Shinagawa, Kawasaki, and Yokohama. But serving Haneda Airport is a big factor that makes us completely different from rivals. On March 30th this year, daytime international flights at the airport were increased from 30,000 to 60,000 per year. With nighttime slots, it's 90,000 a year. Thanks to that, passenger arrivals and departures at the international terminal have increased dramatically. I believe more than 30%. In that sense, the increase in flights has had a tremendous impact.
Large numbers of people use the KQ Haneda Airport International Terminal Station every day to catch flights out of the country. And this is the entranceway to the train near the arrival lobby. In one section are travelers who've just landed in Japan. This is a tourist information center run by KQ Corporation.
Actually, they have 2 directions.
They offer a variety of services, allowing visitors to purchase train tickets and get transportation and tourism information.
영문한테 그냥 보여주세요.
The staff can all speak English as well as Korean and Chinese. More than 10,000 people are said to visit this center every month.
동시에 영문한테 같이 보여주세요.
is 1938, so 44.
Called the TIC Concierge, they are the first to greet passengers who use the KQ line and considered the group's frontline salespeople.
We actually get quite a lot of customers who are in transit and have 5 hours and want to see Japan in that time. Some want to find a nearby place and the requests vary, so we talk with them and try to help them find what they're looking for. With tourists, many of them want to go to Asakusa. So we provide them with maps and directions from the station. If you ride the Keikyu line, Asakusa Station is A18. We circle that so it's easy to see and understand. And if we see people standing and looking around, it usually means they're searching for something, so we'll proactively approach them to help.
This Japanese style of hospitality is said to be appreciated by many travelers from overseas.
I think it's really, really good because most of people come here from long trip, so they are tired, red eye, and I mean, it's not easy in a lot of airport to get the right way to go. So having something like this that where people can help you, it's really, really appreciated. Yeah. Bye. Have a nice day.
The government is targeting 20 million foreign visitors a year. What is your company doing in terms of servicing customers from overseas?
In a survey of foreign visitors, the biggest complaint is the lack of free Wi-Fi spots in Japan. Since our tourist information center has been quite successful in helping customers around the city, we've decided next to work on setting up Wi-Fi spots. When people arrive from abroad and go to the entrance of the train station, they can show their passports to receive 6 hours of free Wi-Fi access. This is one of the services we've started offering.
This Wi-Fi service was launched after staff at the Tourist Information Center informed headquarters about the types of requests they received from foreign visitors. Listening to the voices on the ground to introduce new services. That quick response is at the heart of the company's hospitality strategy.
Your rival, JR, just announced it will build a new station. How is Keikyu planning to further develop Shinagawa Station?
Right now, Shinagawa is said to be an area that will undergo the biggest development on the Yamanote line. What's significant is that with our line, you can reach the international terminal of Haneda Airport in 12 minutes, and the domestic terminal in 15 minutes. What's more, all JR Shinkansen stop at Shinagawa Station. So, in that sense, it's a station that customers from a wide area can easily come to. We believe that will put the spotlight on Shinagawa.
Shinagawa is the hub for the company's railway network. It is an area that is set to undergo a massive transformation. A 13-hectare property adjacent to Keikyu Shinagawa Station will be redeveloped by JR. Keikyu also has high hopes for this project.
Further out into the future, Shinagawa will also be the hub for JR Tokai's planned Maglev Shinkansen. So, if that actually happens, Shinagawa could become the southern gateway of Tokyo. You might even call it Tokyo's subcenter. Shinagawa is where our railway has its origins. So for us, it has been a very important area since the company's establishment. That area is now being transformed and will become even more convenient. We too have a responsibility in realizing this and want to see it through. That's how we look at the situation.
Do you see any challenges ahead? The population is shrinking and passenger numbers are expected to decline as well. As a railway company, I imagine it's a massive problem.
It's an extremely big problem.
In light of that, how do you see the business environment going forward?
We're already seeing a decline in passengers in our southern line in the Miura Peninsula area. And we believe that there's a very high possibility that numbers will fall even further. Obviously, if demographic trends remain as they are, passengers will continue falling. But places such as Shinagawa and Haneda, which I mentioned earlier, are gateways into Japan from abroad, so we have extremely big expectations that customers on lines from these gateways will increase, and also that the population in these areas will grow. If we worry about populations that are in decline, then we'll necessarily have to keep shrinking our business. We want to grow our business. The areas through which our lines pass, the local governments have the same idea as us. In other words, because Haneda Airport is close, they hope to attract people from overseas and across Japan for tourism and industries and for various conferences. If we can do that, the railway won't shrink. We won't let it shrink. That's the bottom line.
The desire to draw more people to the railway has given birth to a certain product. The Misaki Maguro ticket, which is aimed at getting passengers to taste tuna that's a specialty of Miura, Kanagawa Prefecture. The ticket includes round-trip train and bus fares, a tuna course, as well as access to a hot spring resort and aquarium. We decided to go to the Miura Peninsula using this ticket. Outside the train window, the scenery gradually changes from urban to green. We get off at Miura Kaigan Station, one stop before the end of the line. The Miura Peninsula is an hour by train from Shinagawa, making it perfect for a day trip. A sign beckons passengers to taste the tuna. The tuna course that comes with the ticket can be enjoyed at any one of 25 restaurants on a list. We chose a sushi shop about 3 minutes on foot from the station. So what kind of course will we be served?
Welcome.
Fresh tuna offloaded at Misaki Fishing Port. The dishes are prepared one by one.
Thank you for waiting.
These are the dishes made for tuna ticket holders. A salad of local vegetables, a soup, a marinated tuna rice bowl, and tuna sushi. We asked the proprietor about the economic effect of the tuna ticket.
Sushi shops like us only get elderly customers. But with the tuna ticket, young people can come in casually. The atmosphere is changing, so I think it's good. We have more repeat customers now. During busy times, there are even times when everyone in the shop is a tuna ticket holder. The cherry blossom season, for instance, all our customers have a tuna ticket. I would have to say that they make up about half of all our customers. We really hope that the tuna ticket will help tourism in Miura get off the ground. We've been proactively exploring how to get visitors from overseas to know more about the Miura Peninsula. In the past, we went overseas to promote our railway independently, but it was difficult to explain the locations of our stations or where the Miura Peninsula is located. But now, we collaborate with Kanagawa Prefecture, Miura City, and Yokosuka City in overseas promotions. And we explain that the KQ line runs from Haneda Airport and about the bus connections and so forth. We're making efforts to get more people from abroad to know about the attractions of the Miura Peninsula. We want to do as much as possible to get new tourists to use our trains.
KQ Corporation is coming up with various ideas to grow revenue. Forging a link to the changing Shinagawa area may hold the key to their future.
A ticket that comes with a tuna fish. I have to say, it's a quite interesting idea.
It is, isn't it? The Misaki Maguro train ticket became a big hit product in fiscal 2013 with sales of 60,000 that year. And during the cherry blossom season, they say they sold about 13,000 tickets in the month of March alone.
Wow, I want to try it out as well.
Me too. And the company says the aim of this ticketing scheme is to get more people to know about the attractions of the Miura Peninsula and ultimately grow the fan base of the railway itself.
Yes. Well, when we come back, we'll probably report from World Business Satellite.
the glorious future, leading the world in service and technology, from Japan to the world. East Japan Railway Company.
Mitsubishi Electric is helping to change the environment for the better around the world.
Green subway systems in India.
Green solar power systems in Singapore.
Sistem AC ramah lingkungan di Indonesia.
Eco changes for a greener tomorrow. Mitsubishi Electric.
Tomorrow never ends with you. With you. When the morning falls, we there so long.
For life's greatest moments. Bridgestone.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could do this? We make things like this possible through the power of chemistry. We're the Kaiteki Company, Mitsubishi Chemical Holdings.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we have a report from TV Tokyo's World Business Satellite. Well, Utsuda-san, what's the topic this time?
Yes, in Japan and in many countries for that matter, people are choosing not to get married or getting married much later than before.
Right.
And according to one survey that we have over here, over 50% of men cited the lack of financial resources as a reason why they hadn't gotten married. And while among women, reasons included not wanting to lose their freedom and the inability to find an ideal partner.
Well, I do often hear that the money is a big factor behind people opting to stay single or getting married later.
True, that's what I hear too. But it's not that people don't want to get married. And interestingly, over 70% of the singles in this survey said they wanted to get married eventually.
Well, what about people's view about having children?
Yes, it's also interesting. According to another survey of 420 married people between 20 and 49 years old, over half said they wanted children, but only if companies provide an environment in which they can continue working while raising a child, plus that also education is affordable.
Right. Well, I know that putting a child through college is quite expensive.
It definitely is. And many young people in this survey expressed a desire to have a family one day and on average wanted 2 or more children.
So obviously the key of solving a problem, this shrinking population, is providing an environment that people feel getting married and having children isn't a burden.
Exactly. And this time we have a report on the initiatives of various local, regional governments and the private sector that are successfully combating the falling birth rate. So take a look.
About an hour by car from Tokyo, the government of one locality here is succeeding in reversing the population decline. Shimojo Village, Nagano Prefecture, population 4,000. Last year, the total fertility rate was 1.88, 0.2 of a point higher than 10 years ago. Why is the number of children increasing in this small mountain village?
This is an apartment complex, specifically for young families with children.
Since 1997, the local government has been providing rooms in apartment complexes for families with children. The 65 square meter 2-bedroom units come with a parking space for 2 cars. The rent is about $340 a month, half the average of comparable properties in the area.
We really wanted young people to come to our village. We want to support families with children by offering a low rent.
There are a total of 10 apartment buildings where 124 young child-rearing families can live. About 70% of the renters are from outside the village.
We lived in another town before we were married. The requirement for moving in here was that we were married or expecting a child, so we came here after getting married.
The apartments are funded entirely by the local government. 2 decades ago, Shimojo Village began reducing the number of employees and entrusting the maintenance of low-traffic roads to residents. The government provides only the necessary materials. By doing so, they have been able to direct funds toward child-rearing families. Support for such families has been expanded, with budget allocations to subsidize nurseries and school meals. Currently, medical care is free for children until high school.
We get a cash subsidy of $50 per child every month, $50 each for the first 2 children. From the third, you get $100. It makes a big difference. I should have another child. People living in Shimojo have lots of kids. You get all kinds of support, so it's possible to raise even 3 children.
Other local governments are also focusing on measures to reverse population declines. In Shizuoka Prefecture, the birth rate dipped to 1.37 at one point, but has climbed back to 1.53. The local government is aiming to boost that figure to 2.0, the highest in the country, by fiscal 2017.
To reach 2.0, it's important to offer continuous support in areas such as matchmaking, pregnancy, childbirth, and raising children. By setting a high goal, we'll become motivated to support child-rearing families as a community.
The prefectural government has even created a brochure introducing auspicious locations for love, marriage, and pregnancy to encourage couples to tie the knot. What's more, they've established a so-called corporate birth rate and are supporting companies that accommodate employees who are parents.
We felt that companies with a high birth rate must be very accommodating to employees with children. The corporate birth rate is a way to measure the degree to which companies are parent-friendly.
One company featured in that pamphlet is based in Fuji City. Muramatsu Electric, which has 47 employees. Their corporate birth rate is 1.9. On this day, an employee in charge of accounting leaves her seat during the lunch break.
I'm sorry, but I have to go now. Take care. I apologize. It's Parents' Day at my son's school today.
She heads to the elementary school her son attends. Ms. Ohashi has left work to take part in Parents' Day.
What? You forgot? You must be kidding. Seriously?
Her son, Akatsuki, has forgotten his textbook on this day of all days. But he somehow makes it through the lesson.
I'm glad I was able to see the not-so-fun and the fun things he's doing at school.
Afterwards, Ms. Ohashi returns to the office.
I'm back. Welcome back. Thank you. Welcome back.
On this day, she was allowed to take 2 hours off and return to work. 3 years ago, this company implemented a system in which paid leave can be taken in 2-hour segments, as well as offering 15 more days of parenting leave than the official allowance.
We hired a lot of administrative staff over the years, but they'd all get married, have kids, and quit. When they leave, we have to hire someone new and start the training process all over again.
It's Parents' Day on July 4th.
I didn't hear about that.
I want to take some time off from the afternoon.
Sure, go ahead.
Since introducing this system, the company says no women employees have quit. While some local governments are winning the population battle, the birth rate nationally has been falling every year. One reason is said to be the growing number of people who choose not to get married. This naturally leads to fewer children.
In Japan, the number of marriages is falling. That means even if there are policies for families, they won't be effective.
20% of men and 10% of women are said to remain unmarried throughout their lives.
I guess if I don't find someone, I want to get married by the time I'm 30.
I want to have children. So I feel I should get married by at least 30, if there's someone.
One local government is focusing on helping people get married. 8 years ago, Ibaraki Prefecture set up a dating support center. Over 1,200 couples have tied the knot through this initiative.
Recently, we've seen about 14 couples getting married on average every month. It's not a small number by any measure.
Registration costs about $100 for 3 years. There is no limit on the number of arranged meetings with potential partners. Members input information about themselves and the type of person they're looking for, and search for potential partners using a tablet device. If requirements such as age, residence, income, and occupation match, the staff arrange a meeting where they can talk one-on-one for 30 minutes. Through this service, one couple got married this year. The Suzukis, who had their wedding last month. The husband is a teacher and the wife works at a newspaper. Both have busy work schedules and say they had few opportunities to meet a potential partner.
I'm busy on weekends with extracurricular activities at school and don't go out much. The support center was very helpful in that sense.
Regardless of how we met, the fact that we got married was a good thing for both of us.
The low fee and credibility of the service helped to grow membership, which has exceeded 3,300.
Data we've collected shows that a big reason why people don't get married is because there are fewer opportunities to meet a potential partner. So providing that space is meaningful.
The question now is how to expand these local successes across the country. A national policy to combat the falling birth rate may soon take shape.
Well, Shimojo Village in Nagano Prefecture offers an interesting perspective on this issue. Well, moving on. Utsuda-san, what's our next topic?
Yes, next we turn to the weather in Japan. And summer is upon us, and the temperature over the past few years have risen quite sharply, with the mercury topping 40 degrees Celsius in some regions. And at the same time, torrential downpours have become quite frequent, and you could say we're seeing some quite unusual weather patterns.
Yes, I agree. Well, you hear about people being rushed to hospital from heat stroke, right? And even dying from that. And torrential rain is another phenomenon, the flooding and the blackout from these sudden downpours.
Yes. And it's been said that the cause of this unusual weather is related to global warming. And we have some forecasts for the weather of the next century. First over here is for temperature, and we've expected to see more days in the summer of 30 plus degrees Celsius. And another chart is, this is for rainfall, and meteorologists forecast that days when rainfall exceeds 100 millimeters will be more frequent.
Wow. So these changes in weather will no doubt affect our daily lives, right?
That's right. And according to the Environment Ministry, by the late 21st century, average temperatures are seen to increase up to 6 degrees Celsius or more, and meaning that the climate in more regions in Japan will be subtropical. So this time we have a report on how this is changing the nature of business itself. Take a look.
Kozu Dairy Farm in Gunma Prefecture is the oldest Western-style ranch in Japan. The cows graze on an open field, and during the day, the tranquil scenery is no different from other farms. But that changes at night. After the sun sets, Two men emerge from an office. They are about to go on a survey.
They're here. Wow, amazing.
In the glare of the lights, a herd of wild Japanese deer. In fact, every night, more than 100 deer converge on this farm and ravage the grass. Their numbers have swelled every year, with damages reaching $200,000 annually.
Our total business is about $2 million. So when you're talking about $200,000, it's quite a big loss. Honestly, we're suffering.
Compared to 20 years ago, there are 9 times more wild Japanese deer across Japan. One reason is rising temperatures. Less snowfall has meant fewer deer and wild boar die off naturally, resulting in a continual population increase. Responding to the growing number of cases involving wildlife-caused damage is security services provider Arusoku. In an interview with WBS, the company said it would launch a new division dedicated to this problem.
We've had requests from customers who ask us if we could deal with these animals. So, right now, we're working on establishing a system to capture them.
The plan is to set up traps, which will be monitored using smartphones to improve operational efficiency.
In response to problems arising from the environment, we would like to continue providing services that leverage our strengths.
Torrential downpours, sweltering heat, and tornadoes. Phenomena believed to be linked to global warming are occurring more frequently. The Environment Ministry in June announced that without effective policies, the average temperature in Tokyo, currently at 16.3 degrees Celsius, will rise by 4.2 degrees by the end of the century, with the climate in most of Japan becoming subtropical. Experts point out that adapting to these changes is crucial.
Global warming will produce various effects. It's necessary to think about adapting to changes in order to minimize damages when they happen.
An increasingly subtropical climate will give rise to unprecedented risks. The National Institute of Infectious Diseases. Mutsuo Kobayashi, who researches the effect of global warming on infectious diseases.
We believe that as global warming continues, the risk from infectious diseases transmitted by mosquitoes will undoubtedly increase.
This is the yellow fever mosquito that can be found in subtropical and tropical areas south of Taiwan. Mr. Kobayashi has developed a forecast of the mosquito's habitat when the climate in Japan becomes subtropical. The potential habitats, indicated in red, are seen to expand into the Kanto region by 2100.
Yellow fever mosquitoes are an extremely efficient and powerful transmission vehicle for dengue fever. That threat will gradually spread and reach into Japan. It's a situation that concerns us.
One company is developing measures to fight such tropical mosquitoes. This is a research facility of insect repellent maker Fumakira.
This is from Indonesia.
Being bred here are southern house mosquitoes found in tropical and subtropical regions. They also have breeding boxes for mosquitoes from various countries, including Mexico, Jamaica, and Thailand. The lab says 30,000 tropical and subtropical mosquitoes are being kept here for research. Tropical mosquitoes look almost the same as mosquitoes found in Japan, but they say there's a big difference in survival ability. Inside the testing room, they show us an experiment comparing mosquitoes in Japan and those from tropical and subtropical climates. Similar numbers of mosquitoes are put into 2 glass containers of the same size. Then a mosquito-repelling incense coil is put inside both. And several minutes later,
Their bodies are paralyzed by the active agent and they can't fly.
compared to the mosquitoes in Japan that have dropped to the bottom and are unable to move, the tropical mosquitoes remain active. Tropical mosquitoes actually have a stronger ability to survive than their Japanese counterparts. The company has developed a more powerful incense coil to kill tropical mosquitoes and has been selling the product in overseas markets.
Even if the strong mosquitoes that live in tropical climates enter Japan because of rising temperatures, we're developing sufficiently effective products and will be able to fight them.
Kumagaya, Saitama Prefecture, which in recent years has recorded the hottest temperatures in Japan. A project is now underway in this city. The Agriculture and Forestry Research Center. July, farmers began planting rice slightly later than normal.
We're researching methods to grow rice strains that can withstand hotter temperatures.
Agriculture is said to be one industry that will be severely hurt if the climate becomes subtropical. Summer heat waves in recent years have damaged rice crops nationwide as high temperatures make the grains turbid and affect quality. Here, they are studying ways to prevent damage.
We're making rice plants in there and subjecting them to high heat. Then we select the ones that are strong.
Starting this year, they have been carrying out experiments inside a greenhouse built in the middle of a paddy. Here, they subject the plants to heat to check if they become damaged. So far, they've tested about 50 types of rice plants.
We hope to make rice plants that are able to withstand even heat like this.
One company is responding to climate change worldwide. Inside a greenhouse, a plant with brightly colored flowers. Called Sun Patience, it was developed by Sakata Seed Company. Based on impatiens, this is an improved variety resistant to heat.
With the changing climate, they were having problems surviving the summer season. But Sun Patience have the ability to make it through the heat.
Sales of Sun Patience have continued to grow. Compared to the first year when it went on the market, unit sales have increased more than tenfold. Last year, 20 million were shipped to 30 countries around the world.
We're seeing sharp fluctuations in the weather. So, we want to supply these seeds to people around the world. That will help us expand globally.
The business of adapting to the increasingly subtropical climate in Japan may continue heating up in the future.
Well, while the changes in weather are necessary welcome for most of us, it could be a potential new business opportunity.
Yes, you could definitely say that. And businesses such as the ones that we saw in the video are expected to grow in the future. And global warming has long been seen as an issue to be dealt with by the government, but the private sector may also be able to play a greater role.
Yes, I agree. Well, when we come back, a new episode of Takumi.
SMBC, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation.
Myanmar. Red. United. 世界への挑戦 Passion, Spirit. 次のプレミアムフィールドへ
Welcome to Tokyo Skytree. This is the grand panoramic view from 450 meters. Here you experience the unforgettable. Look, enjoy, be amazed, and be awestruck. That's what Tokyo Skytree is all about. Japan's latest landmark, Tokyo Skytree.
Man, look at all these cars.
Hey, have you heard, by the way? The Japanese company Kobelco is working to make the world's cars lighter.
So what does that mean?
Kobelco is using aluminum and steel technologies to make car parts and bodies lighter around the world.
Ah, Japanese technology. The country of karate. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Why do we always do that?
I don't know.
The talk of the world. Kobelco.
You're watching Channel Japan. Next, we bring you a segment called Takumi from Science View, a program produced by NHK that introduced the latest development in science and technology in Japan.
Yes, now Takumi literally means artisan in Japanese, and it's a word often used to describe a person with exceptional skill in a certain craft, a master technician.
So what kind of artisan will we be meeting today?
Yes, this time we'll be introducing a craftsman who makes a taste sensor.
A taste sensor. What does it mean?
Well, until now, taste was seen as something that couldn't be measured.
Right.
But one person succeeded in developing the world's first device to quantify the sensation of taste. So take a look.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm in Atsugi City, Kanagawa Prefecture, situated right next to Tokyo. Today I would like to introduce you to a Takumi who specializes in taste. He has made possible what many have considered impossible. Let's go meet him. Hello.
Hello.
This is our Takumi, Hidekazu Ikezaki. Ikezaki invented this taste sensing machine. It is the first machine in the world that can measure tastes and represent them as numerical data. It's really possible for a machine to measure differences in taste like people?
Yes, but before I explain, let's do an experiment.
3 different types of coffee will be tasted. Me versus the taste sensing machine. Whoever analyzes the taste in greatest detail wins. A was very bitter and sour. It was quite strong in taste. And B and C was a bit more milder, but I couldn't really tell the difference. It was very, very close. Next, it's the taste sensing machine's turn. These finger-like rods are dipped inside the cups of coffee. 1 hour later, the machine delivers its results. The machine has clearly identified the faint differences in bitterness and sourness between B and C. It also evaluated the astringency, savoriness, and even the aftertastes of the coffees. I could sense the difference between sourness and bitterness, but the machine can evaluate so much more. I lose. How exactly is taste analyzed numerically? The secret is in these 6 finger-like sensors. On the tip of each is an artificial lipid membrane, much like the one found on the human tongue. These membranes can pick up taste factors. This happens when the membrane comes in contact with a taste, which causes a change in electrical potential. The machine measures this change, detecting the taste. For example, here you see a piece of sensor film being soaked in a chemical substance that will allow it to capture sweetness. Each of the 6 sensors is engineered to capture one of 6 taste factors as well as any aftertaste. The development of the taste sensing machine began when Ikezaki encountered Professor Kiyoshi Toko of Kyushu University. Professor Toko was studying taste. They began to work together on a machine with the same sense of taste as the human tongue. Its development would take 20 years.
For example, we had no idea that we could create a membrane that would only respond to one taste factor. We had to make thousands of membranes before we understood the mechanism at work and could come up with the current design.
The taste sensing machine is currently being used by many large food manufacturers, both in Japan and abroad. It has been hugely important in the development of new food products. It is especially useful in helping companies design products for different foreign markets. Instant noodles, 1 cup from Japan, 1 from Vietnam. Using the taste sensing machine, we can see the differences in Japanese and Vietnamese palates. By numerically measuring these differences in taste, companies can develop products that are a precise fit for any country or region.
All over the world, taste preferences are different. It's taste culture. To see that objectively with the same yardstick helps you understand these differences. Food companies become able to see with their own eyes the differences among their consumers, and then develop products that are a good fit for them. It's an interactive communication tool. By spreading this yardstick of taste around the world, I want everyone to be able to share in this culture of taste.
Well, what's sweet or spicy or taste from one person is definitely different from someone else. So having a standard, in a sense, make it possible to understand the taste of other people.
You could say that. And tastes vary across countries, regions, and peoples. And for example, you won't find foods that taste exactly like Japanese natto or miso anywhere else in the world. So you'd have a really hard time explaining the taste to someone who never tasted the food before. And with this device, you could at least give them a numerical figure, maybe.
Yes. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Channel Japan. We have much more in store for you, so tune in again next week.
Panasonic Ultra High Resolution 4K, extending the frontiers of TV.
Vamos lá.
Allowing passions to flow, values to converge, enhancing imagination. Places abloom with captivating images, bring a new kind of connection to people's lives. Panasonic 4K solutions. Break the boundaries.
Panasonic.
Omron is a company like no other. It defines expectations because engineers are constantly working on something new. Machines that are attuned to the way people think and move. Therein lies technology that will one day help the future. We automate. Omron.
Matsui and Company.